the Ayatollah regime. Avishag Avinom is a former media coordinator to the Israeli Prime Minister, who's also now joining us. We will try and get Avishag, but here's the thing. Iran is not just sitting on its hands, Avishag. They are responding. Now, the jury is out on whether the retaliatory strikes are successful or not. But do you see this play itself out in a way that is more destructive, more devastating than the 12-day war? Because ultimately, Mr. Trump and Mr. Netanyahu have left a lofty goal, which is regime change in Iran. And that's not going to happen overnight. That's going to take some serious effort and time. Does that square with President Trump's instincts to get a quick win? And more importantly, what happens over the next, let's say, 24 to 48 hours? Because Iran is retaliating. It is responding. It is not kowtowing.
Well, I can say I cannot really compare to the 12 days war what will happen, because as you've seen, Iran really retaliated like regionally, not only targeted Israel. So there are other actors, regional actors, that probably will be involved. As we've seen the statesmen coming out from the Foreign Ministry of Jordan and also from Qatar. And we've seen also now in Sweden, in Syria, you have four deaths from a rocket that hit a private home. So now I think what will happen is that there are two major things that will happen. Iran is acting now like a panic attacked child, which it is. It's in its worst state since the Islamic regime took place in the 70s. So what will happen right now is two things. They will use the rest of their military stock, and they will try to attack everything, everywhere in the region. So that's what they will do right now. I don't know really for sure if it will be a quick change of regime or not. We don't know that yet. Mm-hmm. It really depends on the Iranian people and the protests that we've seen resumed in the last few days. So it really depends on them, and also it depends on America and Israel, which are the only ones who are cooperating right now with this attack. In which specific targets they will hit, because they need to neutralize not only governmental institutions and military institutions, they need to also target on the regime collaborators that help to suppress the protests. So okay. It's really
I'll just come to that in 1 second about this call to arms, not call to arms, but call for regime change that Trump has instituted to the Iranian people in his speech, saying that once this is over, come out and capture or retake your government. How much that will happen, particularly bearing in light what happened just a few weeks ago. More than 6,000 protesters, by the most conservative estimates, were killed brutally by the iron fist of the regime. So what will entice people to come forth again back out on the street and try to topple this regime? But we're getting a response from the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. This is a breaking story at this moment here on CNN News 18. He's put out a statement where he has said that Netanyahu and Trump's war on Iran is wholly unprovoked, it is illegal, and it is illegitimate. Trump has turned America first into Israel first, which always means America last. Our powerful armed forces are prepared for this day and will teach the aggressors the lesson they deserve. All right, let me go back to Avishag on this. So obviously there's a lot of bluster, there's a lot of mind games that are going on right now. But Iran's foreign minister is underlining the fact, he's also trying to drive a wedge between America and Israel, saying this is not America's war. America has no business to be conducting this war. And basically putting America first is actually shorthand for putting Israel first. It's actually America last. What do you think he's trying to do here, and will this actually fly with Israel and with the United States?
Yeah, so it's very simple. We all follow the division within the MAGA movement, which you have the isolationist members like Tucker Carlson and others like him that really pumping Qatar propaganda, which is supporting Israel as the as U.S. ally, the most trusted and powerful ally in the region, is not beneficial to the U.S. So what we are seeing here is basically a fueling of this narrative, so they can basically, the mega supporters of the isolation movement within it, they will take it and they will see and they will publish it and they will see, oh, look at that, America has no business with Iran, which is absolutely false. We all seen multiple times the threats that the Iranian regime and their supporters chanting within different assemblies and in the streets, death to America, death to Israel. Israel is the little Satan and America is the big Satan. So it's just part of the Qatari propaganda machine that meant to basically paint Israel in dark colors and portray us as if we are a burden to the American nation,
So I want
which
to
is
ask Brahmachalani
absolutely
this as
true.
well. The three objectives that were outlined was one, regime change, which I think is the most difficult thing to achieve here. The other was to try and get Iran to forcibly agree to zero enrichment of uranium, therefore making no nuclear weapons, or at least not attempting to make a nuclear weapon. That's number two. And number three is putting a curtailment on these ballistic missiles. Do you think that the American-Israeli joint strikes are now moving in that direction of forcing Iran into making concessions on all three of those fronts?
Zaka, the US has been moving the goalposts. You would recall that last June, after bombing Iran's nuclear sites, Trump had publicly stated that Iran's nuclear capability had been, quote unquote, completely obliterated, and that it would take them years to reconstitute that capability. Second, more importantly, the Omani foreign minister, who was a key negotiator in the US-Iran talks,
Yeah.
he, just hours before the joint war was launched against Iran, he publicly disclosed that in the negotiations, Iran had finally agreed to give up its enriched uranium stockpile and also forswear nuclear weapon ambitions forever. In other words, there was a virtual capitulation by Tehran at the negotiating table.
So why
And
did
yet,
America and Israel still strike? Go ahead and strike.
because their objective was not nuclear non-proliferation, their objective was regime change in
Iran.
Iran, and also included first disarming Iran, disarming not just on the nuclear side, disarming Iran's missile capability. Because we have to keep in mind that Iran doesn't have an air force, and its air defenses are very weak or non-existent. So its main weapons of deterrence are ballistic missiles and drones. So to disarm Iran, both Israel and the US have decided to strike its missile and drone infrastructure. That will completely disarm Iran and leave it exposed to strikes by the US and Israel at any time of their choosing.
Okay.
So the objective now extends far beyond the nuclear front.
Abhishek, here's the thing. If the objective is regime change, and you heard President Trump speak a few hours ago, he's speaking directly to the Iranian people and saying it's your government, go out there, take it over, overthrow the Ayatollah regime. How does that contrast with what we saw just a few weeks ago, just last month in January, where 6,000 people, by the most conservative estimates, were brutally butchered by the Ayatollah regime? How do those people, how do you motivate people to come out back on the streets and reclaim their government when their brothers and sisters have just been brutally butchered by the regime just a few weeks ago?
So it again goes back to the vast of the attack that will take place. It's not only top leaders. It's not only officials in the army, in the Iranian Islamic Army. So it's not only, it has to be a complete annihilation of the system that oppress these people. You need to understand that the Islamic regime has a lot of collaborators within different cities who are not officials, that they actually take place within the suppression of those protests and their killings, going to hospital and shooting wounded protesters directly in their heads. So it depends on how vast the attack and on which targets the attacks will take place, basically. So it's all linked to the attack itself. And I don't know what the next day will bring, but if it will take, a few days, maybe a few weeks or months to take the regime out, if it will take an extra, necessary action from the Israeli government and the American administration, really to maybe put boots on the ground. I don't know. I don't know how to if that will happen. I don't know to say that, right? So it really depends. I really think that we should give a chance to the Iranian people first by first eliminating all the obstacles.